seeing those people change their minds, seeing lives saved through it, was ultimately the nail in the coffin that got me here.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Humans of the Pro-Life Movement. Humans of the Pro-Life Movement is a segment of the Pro-Life Guys podcast, and on it, we want to highlight some of the defenders of the defenseless, some of the unsung heroes who are doing really, really great work defending and protecting preborn children. And so today we have a wonderful guest on. My name is Peter. I'm the host of the show, and the guest that we have is Ian Spencer, an activist with Created Equal in Columbus, Ohio. Ian, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thanks for having me on today, Peter. I'm excited to be here and talking with you. I live in Columbus, Ohio. I'm married. I've been married to my wife, Brianna, for almost 3 years now. And I enjoy sports a lot. So I love American football, particularly the Ohio State Buckeyes. So I was sad they lost in the national championship the other day. Growing up, I played hockey, so I have some Canadian roots in my grandparents' side, and that was one of my favorite things to do growing up.
Yes, that's great. I am a sports fan as well. I don't know anything about American football. However, what I do know is that the NHL has just resumed here in Canada, so I'm excitedly watching that. And the Leafs won the other night, so we're off to a good start. But could you tell us why you got involved in the pro-life movement?
Yeah, I've been working with Created Equal for about 5 years now, a little over 5 years. Growing up, I grew up in a Christian family, and my father was a pastor, and we grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and there was an abortion facility not far from our house. So once a week, our church would go out and pray in front of that abortion facility. And so from a very young age, I knew what abortion was, and just was honestly terrified by what it was. As I grew older, my family continued to do things, and eventually Seth Dreyer, who is the vice president of Created Equal, ended up marrying my oldest sister. So I got introduced to Created Equal through him, and started going on their justice rides, which are week-long trips where high school and college students from around the country come together and go out onto high school and college campuses, much like you guys do in Canada. And we receive the training, and then we go onto the campuses and just engage in conversations. And I remember my first day going onto a campus and just seeing people change their minds on abortion, seeing the reality of what abortion was, what it was doing to these little preborn humans. And it was so cool. I just thought, wow, like cultural change is happening right now. And as a 14, 15-year-old kid, I was able to have an impact in people changing their minds on abortion. And so I knew it was something that I wanted to continue doing no matter how my life progressed. And so as I near the end of high school, I interned with Created Equal. That was a really good experience for me, just continuing to get worldview training. And I thought I might want to do pro-life apologetics and ministry in my future, but I was off to college at Moody Bible Institute in Chicago. I did some online schooling there for my first year, which is where I met my wife. And we dated long distance for about 2 years before we got married. And during that time, I ended up stopping my online schooling and beginning working full-time with Created Equal. So now at Created Equal, I'm the director of programs. I organize our events and get us out onto campus as much as we can during the coronavirus.
Oh, man. Yeah, the challenges have risen dramatically over the past year. It's been absolutely crazy. But Ian, one of the things I love hearing is stories of people who didn't join the pro-life movement later on in life, didn't join in university or something because they saw an image or were challenged, but joined because their family was involved, their parents were involved, they were discipled from a young age on how to defend the preborn. They went to the abortion mill with their families, and they learned not from some other organization but from their parents, which is something I really, really, really respect. And that's one of the things I want to do with my children, and I hope that so many people who are listening want to do that as well, is to raise up the next generation to be defenders of the most marginalized and vulnerable in our society, the preborn children. So, but you have this conviction that you need to do something for the babies. You need to fight abortion. But a lot of people say that, and not many of them end up being full-time in the movement. You got married during the time you were in college. You obviously got more expenses, and you had to settle down a little bit and think about your future. So my question for you is, why did you decide to do this on a full-time basis?
Yeah, I think it's kind of twofold. One is that I realized while I was in college and in high school that wasn't something that I was doing already. I wasn't able to dedicate as much time to it as I wanted to. And then also, I've heard Greg Cunningham from the Center for Bioethical Reform say that we're never going to end abortion or abolish abortion until we have as many people working full time in the movement as those on the pro-abortion side do. And so I really just felt that was on my heart, that I could see the same things happening. I could see people being discipled and coming to Christ through the work that I was already doing, and just realizing the humanity of the unborn, and just the need that we needed to be a part of it. So seeing those people change their minds, seeing lives saved through it, was ultimately the nail in the coffin that got me here.
I remember the very first time I went out and did activism with a team at CCBR, and I was so nervous. I was unbelievably nervous. I remember going out and having this extended washroom break, trying to find the washroom on the far end of town, and hopefully by the time I returned, activism was done, because I was scared. I was scared of what people were going to say. I was scared of being out there talking about abortion. Now, was this something that you had as well? I mean, you talked about going on your first Justice ride. You talk about seeing shifts in the culture, real cultural change happening. Were you nervous? Were you totally like, I got this, extremely confident in your abilities? Or how did you feel on the very first time that you went out and did activism?
Yeah, definitely was not relaxed. I had the same feelings. It was just terrifying. Like talking with people who were 4, 5, 6 years older than me about a topic that's brings out oftentimes the worst in people. And so it was terrifying, and I felt like I didn't know what I should say. I had had so much apologetics training, and then I went to do it, and I just, like, my mind felt blank. And so I remember the first conversation that I had. A guy started talking with me, and he said something. I don't remember exactly what his argument was, but I remember just sitting there looking at him for a couple seconds, just stumbling, and just kept saying, "Oh, I don't know." And eventually he said, "Well, I've got to get to class," and that was just like, oh my gosh, like I felt like devastated that I had let down like preborn children. And so I didn't want to ever feel that way again. And there still are challenging times, and still times where I leave a conversation. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, why did I say that? I should have responded with this, or why did I let that person go too soon? But it was just, continually going back and talking with people after the outreach, talking with, Seth and the others who were already here at Created Equal, and asking, like, what should I have said in this instance? And just, trying to make it a muscle memory type thing.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? The more we do something, the better we get at it. The more we have conversations about abortion, the better we're going to get at them, the more confident we're going to get. We're going to be able to understand the arguments and be able to respond accordingly in an effective and winsome way. Now, you've done this for several years. You've had so many conversations with people, tons of testimonies and stories. Could you share with us one of the best stories that you have from your time on the streets?
Yeah, there are a lot of great stories, and just really cool things, like cool instances that God chooses to work through us. And one of those was, I think it was before I was on staff with Created Equal. I had come to an outreach that they were doing here in Columbus, and I was standing next to a photo of an aborted baby, and this guy walked through, and his name was Dante, And I asked Dante what he was thinking about abortion, and he just looked so shocked that I was asking him. And so I was asking him what he thought, and he was saying, "Well, I think it's a woman's choice, and she should be able to do what she wants." And so I, did what I do in most conversations and asked him a lot of questions about why he believed that, what he thought the differences were between a preborn child and a born child, and just kept referring, back to the baby that was on the picture that I was standing next to. And towards the end of our conversation, I could tell he was really starting to change his mind, and he said, it's really fascinating that you're here today, because I just found out a few hours ago that my girlfriend is pregnant and we're considering abortion. And so we continued, and I kept talking to him about why, he shouldn't do that, and why he should keep his child, and what he needed to do for his girlfriend. And so we exchanged phone numbers so that I could continue to talk to him. And I texted a few more times with him, and it was unclear if he was going to keep the baby or not. And he, in the meantime, had friended me on Facebook. And so I tried to stay in touch, and eventually he just stopped responding. But a few months later, 6 or 7 months later, I saw a picture he posted on Facebook of his little boy that was born. And that was just awesome. Like, seeing that it wasn't instantaneous, but it was just how the continued conversation was able to have an impact on him. And just the situation of being able to be there right away when he was finding out that news.
What a moment. That's absolutely amazing. Just to see how God, in his, providential ways, brought this person who just found out that his girlfriend was pregnant to have a conversation with you. Your paths crossed, were able to have that conversation, and the child is alive today. That's absolutely amazing. A question for you, though. Have you ever been able to meet that child after he or she was born?
No, I have not. I would love to, but no, I have not had that opportunity.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, that would be really, really cool. To be able to have an opportunity to meet that child. I haven't either. I know of children who are alive today because of the work we've done. Never had the opportunity to meet up with them or see them. I've been to ultrasounds. I've seen them in ultrasounds, but that's been it. Now, as we go out on the streets and have conversations about abortion, we're obviously going to be having some extremely difficult ones as well. We wish every conversation was a changed mind. We wished every conversation was a life saved, or every conversation was someone turning to Christ. However, that's not the case. So could you share with us one of the hard conversations you've had as well? One of those conversations that really sticks with you?
Yeah, I think one of the hard ones that always sticks out to me is I think it was the first time a woman had told me that she was post-abortive. And so we had been talking about it, talking about abortion, and she was very open to me that she had had an abortion previously. And it was hard because I felt so much pain for her, and it was pain that she wasn't feeling yet. And so I was trying to show her what had happened to her child, and to show her why it was wrong. And she understood completely what it was, and completely that what she had done was kill her child, but still was not regretting that decision at all, and was very much thought that was a great decision for her. And so that was just really hard because I didn't know how to really be able to reach to her heart and help her to see, why that's wrong, but also to give her hope for the future that, as a follower of Christ that I have, that through the sins that I commit and the sins that anyone commits, they can be forgiven through the shed blood of Jesus Christ on the cross.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I hope she did accept that news. And that's one of the hard things, right? I mean, we're out there having conversations, but sometimes it's just a 10-minute conversation, a 15-minute conversation. The person leaves to go off to class or on the bus or wherever it might be, and we never have an opportunity to talk to them again, to follow up, or rarely have the opportunity to do that. But I really, really do hope she accepted that news. Now, at Created Equal, you do a number of projects. You have the Justice Ride, you have your internships, you spend time out in front of the abortion mill. What's your favorite? What's the one that if you have your own choice, you're allowed to make your own schedule, do whatever you want? What's the project that you're going to go do?
That's the easy one for me. I love going to the high schools and talking with high school students. they are so much more open to the truth of abortion, and so receptive. And I think it's just that they haven't had so much indoctrination within the American colleges and universities. And so that's my favorite, is just being able to go, because they see it and they recognize very quickly what it is. Oh, that's a baby that's been killed. And there's so much rhetoric that when I'm talking with high school kid or with college kids or adults, there's so much rhetoric that has to be cut through. But with high school students, it's just so easy. It's very easy to take them to the humanity of the preborn and for them to see that that's a human being that's being killed.
Oh man, you sound like one of our interns. Some of our interns as well say that some of their best projects happen at high schools, the conversations at high schools, because there's not this cloud of rhetoric over so many people, so that they can look at the image but believe in all the choice and the reproductive rights stuff. But with these high school students, you're actually having them look at the images, see what abortion is, and you're able to have rational and logical conversations with them, which is really, really cool. It's a great place to have really good conversations. Now, with Created Equal, you're the director of
programs.
What was it again?
Director of programs.
To tell us about your role.
Yeah, so basically I maintain our outreach schedule. So I'm planning events. I'm planning our justice rides now. I'm planning, we do things called a day of action, where it's kind of for like any age group. Our justice rides are more for high school and college students. The day of action is really for anyone of any age to come, and it's just a one-day thing where they get training. So I help to oversee that. We send our team out for weeks on the road each semester, and so I'm kind of putting together the logistics, and I'm the logistics guy mostly. So planning and executing, and we have a summer internship that we run here as well, and I'm pretty heavily involved in that too.
Nice. Yeah. No, that's good. So you work for Created Equal. You're in Columbus, Ohio. Perhaps someone's thinking about getting involved. Give us a small pitch for why some of the activists that are listening to this should sign up for your internship, sign up for the projects that you guys are doing at Created Equal.
Yeah, I think it's just, for the reason that I said that I came to Created Equal is that I was seeing change taking place. I was seeing babies being saved. I was seeing minds being changed. And we have just a very special community of all the chaos and turmoil that's going on in the world. It's just such a special thing to be on the front lines, to be fighting against the evil of abortion, and then to have a community of people that you're doing it alongside, of like-minded believers who really care about the unborn and are committed to making a difference. So it doesn't have to be full-time. It can be in whatever capacity that you have. If you only have a few hours and you want to volunteer and join us for an outreach or whatever organization may be in your area, that's needed. We need people to be able to come alongside and support us in those ways.
All right. I can see people saying, I would love to join you guys. I support you fully. This is work that I think is good. I'm passionate about it, but I'm extremely nervous about going on the streets. What is a message that you have for people who think it's important to get involved, but just can't bite the bullet to actually get out and have that first challenging conversation? What do you say to them?
I think anytime we try a new thing, there's going to be some discomfort in it. So stepping out of a comfort zone, and that's the way that it was for me. And it's still not something that's easy for me. I still get nervous when I walk onto a college campus. It's not something that really goes away for me, at least. And but I just recognize that there's something greater. If I don't take part in this, if I don't use my voice to stand up for the preborn, who else is going to do it? There are so many people who are doing other things, who are invested in other ministries, and those are great ministries to support and to be a part of, whether it's helping the homeless or feeding the hungry and helping the poor. Those are great things, but there are not a lot of people who are regularly standing up for the preborn, and we need more people to come and be a part of it.
Amen. Yes, thank you so much for that. Ian, thank you so much for taking the time and joining me on Humans of the Pro-Life Movement.
Thanks for having me. I love being here.
All right, everyone. That is Ian Spencer of Created Equal, an activist out in Columbus, Ohio, doing some really, really great work defending and protecting preborn children. I hope you're inspired and motivated to get involved as well, wherever you might be. If you want to learn more about the work that we're doing here in Canada, check us out, endthekilling.ca. And there's a Get Active tab where you can get active with some of the projects that we're doing. I would like to share with you about some news that we have as the Pro-Life Guys. The Pro-Life Guys is now on Patreon, so you can support us financially through the work we're doing. We have the Pro-Life Guys podcast. We have Humans of the Pro-Life Movement. We have the Pulse, and we have some exciting new things that we're trying to work on as well. And you joining us financially helps us get these projects happening. It helps us get the message out, and it helps us equip people to be better pro-life activists. One of the things we have on Patreon, there's gifts and merch and things like that you get for being supporters. And one of them is this book, Stuck, a complete guide to answering tough questions about abortion by my colleague, Justina Van Manen. It is a great book. It includes arguments, pro-abortion arguments from all over the place, and arguments that we use, apologetic tactics that we use on the streets. This book was not created in someone's basement or just in the academic circles somewhere else, but the arguments that you're going to find in here, the apologetics that you're going to find in here, have been street tested. They've been time tested. We have seen them time and time and time again change people's hearts and minds on abortion. So that's one of the things you can get. It'll be signed by myself, by my co-host Cameron Cote, and the author herself, Justina Van Manen. So go check us out, patreon.com/ProLife Guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Peter. I'm the host of the show. And if you want to learn more about us, check us out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or anywhere else. Find us on YouTube if you're not watching us there right now, or check us out at our website, ProLifeGuys.com. Thank you for tuning in. God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you again next time.